Gregory, I'm curious here just how, much of a surprise this must be to Americans. This is happening. Again, there was this meeting at the UN between the two leaders, but President Putin has been kind of unabashed that he would have Bashar al-Assad's back for a long time.
That's right. This has been a steady military buildup in Syria since early August, but I don't think anybody until early this week really got the sense that they were serious about doing airstrikes like this. This is a much more aggressive military action than they've done beyond the former Soviet region in decades. So I think a lot of the region still, and the world is still watching to see just where this goes.
And Greg, what do we know about whom the Russians have targeted so far? There was the expectation here it would be after ISIS fighters. Now it seems unclear that that was in fact the case.
That's the big uncertainty right now. The Russian Defense Ministry, as you said, has said they're targeting the ISIS, although the regions where they said they did the 12 targets overnight that were struck overnight and yesterday aren't areas that are traditionally seen to be held by ISIS. They're a little further west in the country, closer to the Syrian army strongholds, and it looks like some of those could be other terrorist groups. Today, Foreign Minister Lavrov was at the United Nations and explained that it's not just ISIS, but any terrorists that Russia's going after, and wouldn't be drawn in specifically on whether the Russians would target some of the opposition groups that are supported by the United States and the Central Intelligence Agency, but tried to say that Russia and the U.S. were very much on the same page in terms of targets. I think Washington would tell you that the jury's still out on that question.
Yeah, it seems when I watched President Putin speak the other day, it seemed that he was convinced there might be a chance that Washington could get on the same page with him as far as Syria is concerned. Is there that kind of optimism that the U.S. and Russia would actually fight together?
I don't think you'd see them formally bonded in any sort of coalition, because ultimately they still have a fundamental difference over the role of President Assad in Syria's future, with the U.S. viewing him as part of the problem and the Russians viewing him as potentially part of the solution. But I think what you might be seeing is the possibility of kind of behind-the-scenes coordination and a sense that with a common enemy in the form of ISIS and its various other terrorist groups, that there might actually be room for some sort of coordination. The Russians argue that their operations are going to be more effective than the year-long bombing campaign that the U.S. has mounted, because the Russian operations will be coordinated with Assad's army, something that the U.S. obviously won't do.